Whoa, we're back with some Bleach Mirrors High, and I want to talk about the pity system, which just got revealed. So with the Bleach Games news account actually dropping a post here, we can see that Bleach Mirrors High Gacha system explained is out. Drop rate is a 4-star, is a 2.5%. The rate up is 0.5. We have a 3 stars, 22%. The rate up is 2.0. That's one of the things, is like a non 1.0 rate up is pretty brutal here. 2-star 40%, 4.0, and 1-star 35% rate up is 6.0. So we have essentially the SR, SSR, or I guess R, SR, SSR, and then maybe like Legends Limited or Ultra Rare or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, names aside, this is a little spooky. The reason is because pity is similar to DBL. After a multi, you get 10 medals. Once you reach 200 medals, you can choose X unit. However, we do not have any confirmation of pity transferring, nor does pity transfer in Dragon Ball Legends, I believe, nor does it transfer in Dokkan, the Bandai Classic. So, if pity doesn't transfer, what does the actual pity really look like? It means that unless you have the pitiable amount, you should never pull. I'm going to repeat that. Unless you have the amount you need to pity a character, you should never pull. That's how non-pity gacha games work. If you, or I guess like non-pity transferable gacha games work. It's not like Bleach Soul Resonance where you could technically 10 pull Bleach Soul Resonance, ding, 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 every single time you get enough currency. But that's neither here nor there. We're not going to, we're not going to spend time like shitting on Bleach Mirrors High's gacha system just like sort of baselessly, but we do need to look at the reality of it, right? In Dragon Ball Legends, the required amount of Chrono Crystals is a little varied based on the character type. I believe Ultras cost more technically than Limiteds and so on and so forth. So I think the average you could be looking at for the SSR, Ultra Rare, whatever that releases in Bleach Mirrors High would be about 35,000 to 40,000 Chrono Crystals. I think that's how much to pull a limited character. A rate-up character, right? Is about 35,000 to 40,000 crystals. These are going to be ballpark numbers because it's very hard to get the actual average. As someone who doesn't like, religiously play Legends, but if anyone does play Legends, you can chime in the comments. But it is around 36,000 to 4,000 crystals, because as well, there is, of course, the rate up banners, these Legends step ups, which I do imagine Bleach Mirrors High will be copying quite a bit. So you can see that 3 summons for 100 crystals. So you pull 3 characters. 5 summons for 300 crystals, you pull 5 more characters. 700 crystals for 10 summons, you get, 10 summons. SP rarity guaranteed ticket, 1 as a freebie, 1,000. So right there, you spent 2,100 Chrono Crystals. Right after that, you get another 10 summon. So you spend 3,100 crystals on step up 5 in total. And then at step 6, you get a 10 free summon. And at step 7, you spend the final 1,000 crystals, which should mean that this is about 4,100 crystals in total, right? For this step up. I imagine that this format will be adopted, right? So it does make the variance of, pulling for these characters very wonky, right? It's hard to say. Now, what does this look like in totality? Well, let's read this first. Regarding the gacha system of Mirrors High, the total pity to get the unit is 200 coins or 200 pulls. So 200 pulls versus Legends, let's say 400 to 500 pulls. Half as much means instead of 36,000 or 35,000 or 38,000 or 40,000 that you would need to get like a Legends limiter or the rate up character, you would need 18,000 or 20,000, right? So about half. But how much Chrono Crystals or how much Reishi Crystals will we actually be getting? The problem is that each banner seems to have different coins. That means the pity isn't transferable as of now. Not a fan of this choice, but I'd be fine with the gacha if it transferred. The other obvious issue here is that this is a PvP focused gacha, we assume. if this is a Legends 2.0, if this is Bleach Ball Legends, if this is BBL, then we are going into this with the logic that the PvP aspect of the game is going to be the focus. So everything will lead sort of back into PvP. The thing about Dragon Ball Legends is its PvE is awful. To me, you can like Dragon Ball Legends PvE, but if you like PvP games that have PvE adjacency, I don't know why you wouldn't just play Epic 7 or a game that offers a better version of that. By comparison, Dragon Ball Legends doesn't have gear. It doesn't have like farmable things. It just kind of has boring PvE to mash up against while you like do other things, right? It's like autoable, uninteresting PvE content. I imagine Bleach Mirror's High being a game that is going to be developed in the shadow of Dragon Ball Legends is going to borrow that idea, that framework. So that means that you are funneled essentially back into PvP, right? So, and we don't know this yet. One worry could be, and by the way, I want to pause and take a moment to say, by the way, if you've been watching this long, you know, like and subscribe. It'd be really nice. Helps out the channel a lot, especially in the wake of a new game coming out. But I want to say that we don't know how much the stars are going to matter. We don't know how much the dupes are going to matter. We don't know how much blah, 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 blah are going to matter, right? So I'm saying this as someone who is anticipating and excited to play this game. I will be here. We'll play it till the wheels fall off, right? We'll just keep going. We'll just see how it goes month to month. But I say all this to sort of prime people's expectations, because it's not about derailing or de-escalating your hype. It's about talking reality, right? It's about talking about the actual state of this game, possibly. So we can go over to this one now. The CC records of February 2026. So this is the total CC count of February 2026. This is coming from the DBL News account. And after you do everything, if you do everything, and this is another thing I've been telling people, if you want to play games like this, you have to do everything. You cannot play this as casually as you probably play Bleach Soul Resonance. If you do not do everything, that means all the PvP missions, all the co-op event missions, all the daily logins, all the exchange shops, if you do not do this, you will lag behind much more severely than someone who's just playing Bleach Soul Resonance, who logs in and does the event. Because I already see people, you know, complaining about, you know, Bleach Soul Resonance is like login, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't take for granted the ease of getting on and doing Bleach Soul Resonance missions, because Dragon Ball Legends daily and event grind is much less interesting to me personally. It's the thing that really has kept me from trying to play catch up with the game. That said, there is a major difference between starting a game the day it drops and trying to get back into a game like Dragon Ball Legends that's 8 years in, right? So total CC 23,942 for the month of February. Total above 20k CC. By the way, this is another bit that Bandai likes to pull. If you are above 20 CC or 20,000 CC, you get less rewards from the exchange shop, I believe. So that person, if you are above 20,000 CC, got 5,900 less CC than a fresh account. They had 5,900 less CC to exchange in the shop, I believe is how it works, right? The soft cap on Chrono Crystals. Will that be implemented in Mirror's High? We don't know. We don't know how much of this will be implemented in Mirror's High. What we do know, though, is that a game that's 8 years in is going to give you about a character every 2 months. Now, is that something you can handle? Because a lot of people have a big problem with skipping in these games. They want to pull. They want to use all their resources. They want every character. Is that going to be something you can realistically handle? Can you? I can do it. And I know it's like, oh, I go in, I'll try to pull a dupe if I get lucky and stuff in BSR. If you guys have followed me from Dokkan, which I'm sure at least some of you have, I could skip for months, but can you really? Because if you don't, you are going to be put behind the 8 ball pretty brutally, it looks like. So it might be, and also remember, this is in context. They gave out 20,000 ish CC in February, but I doubt they're going to just be giving out pitiable characters every single release in Bleach Mirror's High. That number is probably going to drop to like 13,000, 12,000, 11,000. Remember that these games tend to scale up, so I'd imagine that the CC amount is going to get reduced quite a bit after the launch period. It's going to sort of stabilize at a medium, and then as we go on, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, it's going to, you know, boop, 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 climb, climb, climb. So it's really hard to say. It's really tough to say, but I do think that if you see people feeling sort of negatively about this, it is with pretty good reason. It's gonna make for some pretty fun summoning sessions, because I assume Bandai will go the extra mile to have pretty good summon animations and stuff. Oh, you know, I'm holding on the screen. Oh, did, you know, Kenpachi show up and slash the screen and stuff? I'm sure that stuff is gonna be pretty fun. It is nice to have a game with summon animations. If it's copying Dragon Ball Legends, I assume there will be quite a bit of them. But my day 1, my day 0, my day 300, minus 300, my day minus 200, whenever this game comes out, is get very ready to not pull dupes and save, and save, and save. Because, like I said, I'm very excited for this game. This hasn't derailed my hype at all. This is the reality I foresaw, but I think people can sometimes get so excited that when stuff like this comes out, not only do they feel obligated to defend it, they are trying to like hide their disappointment. Like, this is a pretty big deal if you're free to play low spending. And by the way, low spending does not mean the same in a Bandai game as it does in Bleach Soul Resonance. If you're someone who plays Bleach Soul Resonance and you call yourself low spending, you spend maybe $30 to $60 a month on the game, you could get dupes. Many, like multiple dupes even. Like, you know, with the inconsistency of like luck, right? If you spend $60, maybe even $100 on Dragon Ball Legends, that's not the same at all. It's not the same exchange rate. It's not the same value purchase, right? Spending $100 on Dokkan Battle, doesn't it give you a 10 pull? Or is it like $90 or $60? I can't remember, but it gives you like a 10 pull. It's terrible. It's awful. Awful. So we'll see, but and that's a PvE game. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's gonna do it for now, I think. Like I said, not very good news, but expected news. So it's like one of those things where I'm not like, oh my god. It's just like, if you were super hyped, like this is gonna be the savior of Bleach mobile games, like you fell for it. Because Bandai is gonna Bandai. The person who was like, Shueisha should keep the BSR content creators out. Egg on your face. Dun 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 dun. Who could have seen this coming? I'm still excited. I'm not really perturbed or anything like that. Like I said, this is the expected outcome. Bandai was never going to be super generous. I expect the first month or two to be very lenient, and then after that, you know, I keep reiterating, but this honeymoon phase is going to be awesome. New art, Tite Kubo on staff, making suggestions. Super pretty game. OCs, great renders and like all this stuff. But after that 2-month period comes out and you're just locked in, because remember how good the BSR honeymoon phase was? It felt like the devs could literally do no wrong. And then what happened? Now you see people being like, actually, the devs are awful. They're bums. Shueisha did nothing wrong. Blah, blah, blah. That's what the honeymoon phase does to you. That's what it does to you. So I'm interested in Mirror's High after 6 months, after a year, so on and so forth, where I think a lot of people are looking at Mirror's High and they're like, that first month is going to last forever. It ain't though. It ain't though. So yeah, super excited still. Little worrisome with the gacha system. No pity his ass. Maybe they'll change it. I don't think they will. Bandai has no reason to listen to anyone. They're Bandai. They never listen at all with anything, so it is what it is. I've been Lone though. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the club, go make it, and peace.